I'd say it's different with different individuals, and that's what I tell people when I stand up in front of them on arraignment day is that, you may hear me working out a case. You may be charged with DWI, and he may be charged with DWI. The facts are different. Your history is different, and so these cases are going to end up differently. And I don't know if I answered your question exactly, but managing the docket and these cases can get out of control, and you can have defense attorneys that reset and reset and reset cases. That's a challenge in the office, and getting cases moved through in an efficient manner. I see Heather nodding her head; she knows. But that case management is a big part of the job. Yeah, Jim.
Broad spectrum question here. You're probably not old enough to remember when America looked a lot different than it does now. There have been a lot of changes. CPS cases. When I was growing up, you never heard of anybody having their kids taken away. There's a lot of that goes on now. A lot of things that would seem to indicate a decline in many ways in America. What would you attribute that to? Just, I'm not limited. I mean, you can give me one thing or 10 things, but you're down in the trenches that I never see. I don't ever get anywhere near anything like this. What do you think is causing the problems that our entire nation on this level is experiencing today?
Family, the lack thereof. I mean, I can see you can keep boiling it down and boiling it down and boiling it down, and at some point, 9 times out of 10, you get to the point where there's just not a family unit. I've been blessed in so many ways with a family, but when I'm in Dallas and I'm working and looking at these gangs, I mean, gangs are in existence because they fill a void, a family void. I'm seeing all these young men on the street that don't have a father, don't know who their father is, have no male influence in their lives, and I just really believe at the family level. It's just Will Ramsay, but if that is intact, and that's not to say that there's plenty of good families that have bad situations, and there's plenty of bad situations that great things come out of, but just like you said, broad overlook. I think there is a decline in the traditional family home that is really, really hurting our kids. And I see it, I mean, I saw it there, but I see it on a lesser scale just over in Mount Vernon, just, and not even in the criminal courts, just if we do a little deal with 6th graders on Wednesday mornings where you can see it play out. But one thing that I had to, if you gave me one word to say, it'd be family, and it's falling apart, and it's just really hurting us. Yes, sir.
So did you say that on the family here that the federal government getting involved where I don't need that, where we feed the kids at school, all these programs where the parents don't have to get up and feed the kids breakfast, all this stuff, ain't that contributing to it?
Well, you're, again, I mean, my personal opinion, anytime that if someone has something done for them to where, I mean, you and I know this from our own life, if we've got someone doing something for us to where we don't have to do anything, there's no motivation at all to improve our situation. So, I mean, that's not politics, and that's just common sense. I mean, that's just the way it is. We could be here till midnight if I started talking about it. But I see a lot of, like I said, I see a lot of the same people, and there are things in place that eliminate the drive to improve. If you understand what I'm saying. Thank you.
Well, really appreciate you coming out tonight and talking to us. I know one never thinks about all of the things that you have to do. I mean, I had a little insight on it because Beth's always mouthing about having to go and see the county attorney because somebody's wanting to do something. And, well, maybe. No, she's opining is what I should have said. But about, it's like he was talking about on the fence. I mean, I've heard her, don't tell it at the time, talk about people trying to build fences out in the road. She'd have to go talk to Dusty and get those fences moved back. They want their roads, they want them bladed, they want all of that done, but yet they want to put a fence out there where, you can't do it. So, anyhow, that's people. But it's a lot more involved, because traditionally all we usually think about on the county attorney is the prosecuting end of it. And but I know that y'all have to do a lot of varied things, and it is, though, I think, gratifying to me, and I figure it is to the rest of you, to see someone like Will that could be in private practice if he wanted to. But he has chosen public life, and to find people of his caliber in public life is very gratifying to me to see, because we need people like him, and we need those people that don't want that hat to get tainted. Because I know Beth said, I've heard her talk several times about people going into office and how careful you had to be, and she says, I want to be able to look in the mirror when I go out of the office, see the same person that I did when I come into office. And it's so easy when things are just a little gray to go with the gray side. But once you start going down that slippery slope, it's a lot easier then and before long you won't recognize that person in the mirror. And so it's very gratifying to me to see someone like Will, and I certainly hope that he does run for our office. And I certainly hope that he runs in 2012 for a higher office. Yes, sir. But Jim, would you like to, have you got anything from Erwin's office that you'd like to share with us, or?
Several have asked me about redistricting. I'll give you a 30-second. For what it's worth, several of you have asked me about the redistricting. The Senate and the House both rubber-stamped each other's plans and sent it to the governor. We knew that was a strong possibility. We hoped it wouldn't happen, quite frankly. It has gone to the governor, and he now can either sign it or he can veto it. He has said, I don't know if he said it officially, but he said as much as a month ago that if they passed it on to him, that he was going to veto it. If that happens, it will then be turned over to the Legislative Redistricting Board, as it has in times in the past, and they will then come up with their own plan based on their priorities, regardless of what the Senate and the House did. Whatever plan comes out, whether it's the one that's been sent to the governor or the one that the LRB comes up with, it still ultimately has to pass the Department of Justice review. If the LRB is the one that actually does the plan, there is no telling what it will look like. I have said it could be better, it could be worse. And most people, when I say that, say, no, it couldn't be as bad. It's got to be better. So everybody has their own opinion, but I personally, from the people I've talked to, do expect it to go to the Legislative Redistricting Board. They'll come up with a plan with input from the governor, and then it will go from there. So I still say that whatever we wind up with, it most likely will not be what the House and the Senate approved. That's about all I know.
I've got a question. If it goes to the redistricting board, how long does it take them before they get it back to, before it'll go to justice? Because I know Once they do it, then Justice Department has to.
Yeah, there are deadlines. I don't know, Donnie. I really don't. I wasn't paying close attention to this when they did it 10 years ago. And even if I had been, I probably would have forgotten everything I learned. I don't know what the timeline is. That's just what I expect to happen.
Okay. Well, we thank you very much. Thank all of y'all for coming out tonight. I guess we'll see you next last Thursday in June, and I will attempt to have a speaker here. Hopefully, we will have a better crowd here than what we had tonight, but at least the faithful few have showed up. So I appreciate all y'all coming. Pam, appreciate you and Joe showing up from Delta County. And, oh, yes, John Cooper, John's wanted to tell us about a constitutional study that he's going to do.
Thank you. As y'all know, and I've talked about this several times, that there's a lot of areas now they're doing studies on the Constitution. And Corey Ten Boom Ministries out of Tyler has prepared such a Constitution. And I've just got a copy of it, and I've just had, they've just developed it not too long ago. I've just got a copy of it, and I've just got the discs that go with it this last week. So I'll be announcing after the first of the month that we will have a constitutional study, and it will be, unless things change, it will be at Pizza Inn, and Pizza Inn will allow us to be there on Saturday morning at 10 o'clock and have until 12, and what we'll have to do is we have to pay for meals, so it'll cost $10, and so you get to eat and everything like that, and there'll be a few dollars for some paperwork. Now, the Ten Boom Ministries say there should be 20 or 30 people in the study to really make it worthwhile. So when I send out these announcements, if you can attend, please let me know, and so I can take a poll and see how many people can be there. If there's a better time, we'll be glad to do a better time if that works good. But tentatively, we've set it on a Saturday morning from 10 o'clock, and I was really surprised that Pizza Inn let us do that, but they did. And so that's coming, and you'll be getting something. If you're not on my email list, now you'll miss it, so tonight check with me if you're interested, and I'll do what I can and try to be sure you got information. The Ten Boom Ministries say this. They say that once you've gone through this class, you're so excited about what's going on in your country that you get involved in what's happening. So once you know what your rights are and how much you're losing right now, the people have really come alive on these things. Thank you, Donnie.
You bet. Well, thank y'all for all coming. So, you're dismissed.